And we are live.
Yes, we are. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. Now, this one, what precipitated this episode was earlier this week seeing Namco Bandai, or Bandai Namco, or Namdai,
Whichever.
or Bamco, whatever, popping up and saying, "Hey, Switch owners, make some noise if you want to see Project Cars 2 on the Switch."
I'm sorry. Did I hear that right?
Didn't the first game flop?
It did okay. It did okay. I think it sold 1.2.
This is the same Project Cars crew that made money off the Wii U. Hopefuls, right?
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. Like, the reason the game didn't flop and actually turned a profit was because a lot of the funding for it being made was crowdfunded by people who thought that they were buying a Wii U port of the game. And the developer basically said, well, they lied and said, well, we have it up and running on the Wii U dev kit, looks great. And then like they partnered up with Namco Bandai to publish it. And they were like, well, we're having some problems, we'll work on it. And then like a week after that, no, it's not coming to the Wii U. And they basically took people's money and used it to fund the development of the game and didn't put it on, because like I would say about 60% of the people who gave money to that wanted to see the game on the Wii U. And they basically were defrauded because they didn't get what they paid for, and they were sold a lie that never, a reality that never came to pass. And of course they'd say, well, the Wii U wasn't strong enough to have that game. But if Need for Speed Most Wanted could be, if Need for Speed Most Wanted could be on the Wii U, then Project Cars could have been on the Wii U. There's no.
And also, there were game footage they never. I've been hearing that the game footage they use for Project Cars was for the Wii U trailers was never the Wii U version in the first place, but the PC version.
Yeah, and to be fair,
explains why it was graphically high.
Well, to be absolutely fair to Project Cars is a car sim. It's a hardcore racing sim. Those games really are at their best on a console. I mean, on a PC. Like the best version of Project Cars. Now, to be fair, I don't own the game. I have a friend who is a product tester, and he played the game on his monster rig of a PC. And I mean, it's a fine racing sim. I mean, is it $60 good? No.
I was about to say,
it's not $60 good.
Is there any new Project Cars 2 gonna bring over from the original?
I guess more cars, more tracks. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I don't own Project Cars. I played maybe 10 minutes of it, and I was like, this is fine. I mean, I'm not like, oh my god, this is the best racing game ever, but
Racing games that aren't like Mario Kart, they tend to look the same to me.
I won't go that far. Like, different racing games feel different. Like Daytona USA felt different from Cruising USA, which felt different from Beetle Adventure Racing, which felt different from Extreme G, which felt different from Hydro Thunder. I mean, like, Hydro Thunder has boats, but and Extreme G is all motorcycles. But you get what I'm saying? Like, they're different.
What about Ridge Racer?
Ridge Racer. That's the only racing game I've never played. Like, I saw it in an arcade once. And I was like,
really?
No, it's the only racing game I've never played. Like, I've played Outrun. Like Outrun. I used to love playing Outrun and that racing bike game from Sega back in the day. Like I was like, hang on. I liked playing those games, but it's like for me, like when it comes to racing games, if it's like if it's a vehicle racing game with realistic vehicles, like unless I'm playing it like in an arcade or I'm playing it with ultra high definition details or something or on PC, I'm not interested in it. Like if it's realistic, like I don't see the point of playing realistic car games on a piece on a console. It doesn't make sense to me because like it's much better to play those types of games on a like in arcade settings where you have better like graphics. And I mean if you have the arcade where it's like because at our third place we bought a hang-on machine that had the motorcycle, and with the vibration and it moves as you do what you're going to do and stuff. That's an awesome experience, and there's no port of hang-on a console is ever going to equal as good as what you have in the arcade. So why would I want to play the inferior version? And hang-on's not the type of game where it's like I just pop this in I play this every day. It's if you're going to play it, you want to really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Get the best experience.
And anything else we could say about Project Cars 2 and Namco?
I'm just face palming at how this is probably going to end up in a worse situation than it should be. How they act.
I don't really feel sorry for them because they basically lied and defrauded people with the first game. Right?
That is true. It's just that I'm hoping that people are not going to be buying BS from them.
And to be fair, I mean, like, here's the thing.
To pull a Wii U trick again.
Like, here's the thing that gets me. Okay, the system is like, okay, Project Cars is a hardcore racing sim. Okay, it's a hardcore racing sim. The best way to play those types of games these days is on a beefy PC. So, but here's the thing. There are better PC racing sims. You know what I mean? Like they're ones that have more options. Like I have 3 core racing sims for my PC. Okay, like hardcore. I have Top Gear Rally for PC. Top Gear Rally, I want to say 2010. Top Gear Rally 2014. Like I like core racing sims, but I didn't get Project Cars because aside from graphics, like it didn't have any real track variants. The cars were meh. It wasn't doing anything for me. But I mean, look, listen. If someone really wants to buy this game, just get it for PC or get it for the PS4 or the Xbox One or whatever. Although I don't think this one's going to sell as well as the first one did.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. How I feel about Project Cars 2. I expect it to not sell as much as the first game because the negative backlash from the Wii U supporters.
Well, I mean, it could go that far. I mean, it's just gonna fail, and it's gonna. Okay, so speaking of the frauds, this one's gotta be brought up. Former Square Enix manager arrested for reselling stolen Nintendo 3DS systems.
Oh
Now,
God. I better explain if I could say it right. This guy had actually he didn't from Nintendo directly, but he over ordered certain and then sold them by himself.
Yeah, Yeah, basically he was skimming. He was basically getting 3DS systems that were supposed to be used. Like he would basically skim off the top. So like he would order like let's say someone said they wanted to buy 1,000 3DSs. He would tell them, well, you need to order 250. I mean 1,200, and you need to order 1,250 in case, you know, a little bit over, just in case. And he would ship them the 1,000, the 1,000, keep the 250, and then sell that. But I mean, it was probably smaller numbers than that from a lot of different sources. Like, you know, 5 here, 3 there. You know what I mean?
It can add up over time.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing that gets me is that he sold it for here's the whopping sum he got: 12,374.
Need a drink before you. This is actually so funny
sad.
and well deserved.
No, that's just sad. I'm like, look, man, if I'm gonna go
I
to
said
jail
well
for stealing,
deserved to the well deserved punishment for it.
Oh, and here's a comment I found mentioning this news. At least he had the decency to sell them outright. A Capcom manager would have first tried to sell people a used Game Boy to gauge the market.
well, what gets me about it is like this guy did that for like literally 1,200. Let's say under 1,200. Oh, like almost $12,500. Okay, around about there. He probably did this a little bit at a time throughout the year, just for a little bit of extra money. Look, Square Enix,
over time.
Square Enix, if things are breaking so bad for your employees that they're resolving to skimming a little off the top and selling it under the table in order to make ends meet, look, start paying your people more. Shit. If you got money, if you got money to make 18 different versions of Final Fantasy 15, okay, not 18, I kid. 4. The mobile game, they're making the other mobile game right now that's the demake. And now they're porting the original game that had been in development for over 10 years, well, actually 15 years, to PC. So that's essentially making the game again, almost, for Square Enix, because God knows they don't know how to fucking make a game.
I was about to say, considering that they started going bankrupt the moment they started trying to make movies.
Well, Nintendo told them for years, don't make movies. Look at us. Look what we did. Look, Mr. Video Game couldn't make a good movie. Think about it.
And the funny thing, I heard that they tried 3 times.
Well, I mean, there are several like Square Enix anime movies, but that's a different beast. Like the Final Fantasy movie was a full feature, shown in many theaters around the world film, which is a different beast than something that's made, an anime movie that's maybe shown in maybe 50 theaters in Japan, made, and it only runs for maybe 40 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
That's a different animal entirely. But anyway, yeah, this poor man. I mean, I know we're supposed to be like, how dare he steal? But I mean, the little bit of money he stole, I'm like, damn.
Of course, because of this,
these guys are starving for cool.
Yeah, of course.
Why not work with them?
And of course, after this revelation, it really makes you think twice about other third-party companies who may be in the scalping scandal.
Well, it's not so much that for me. It just makes me think about how much like people don't steal. Like, okay, the little bit of money this man made off of the endeavor, this wasn't theft because he was a devious person. This was theft because he probably wanted to make some extra money, or ends weren't quite meeting, and he just needed a little bit here and a little bit there because it happened over 2 years. Like this man just wanted to make a little bit of extra money. Like this is sad. This isn't even like, okay, if you're gonna if you're gonna be arrested for stealing, aim big. Like steal $60 million. Okay? Look, if I steal $60 million, throw me under the jailhouse. Okay? That's worth, I mean, I don't want to go to jail, but $60 million, if I can squirrel it away and they can't find it, look, totally worth it. $6 billion, $200 million, but $1,200. I mean, Jesus, and they make it sound like it's a big amount. 1.4 million yen. That's like $14,000.
Hey, considering the country it is a big amount, but when you translate it to another region, shrink or enlarge.
That's like 3 months of salary for this person. 1.4 million. That's
As I said, it could enlarge or shrink depending on the region that you're comparing it to.
Well, I mean, because when they okay, if someone in Japan says this is 1 million yen, that sounds like a lot of money. But in Japan, if all things are equal, that's only around $10,000. But here's the problem: in Japan, $10,000 is like a decent amount of money for like a small person. But I mean, in terms of larger scale, like you can't buy a house for $10,000 in Japan. You might be able to pay your rent on an apartment for maybe 3-4 months. I mean, I mean, you can't really buy a car for $10,000 because not only when you buy a car, you're not only buying the car, you have to pay the taxes on the car, like when you get it, and the insurance, and take the various tests, because different vehicles, you have to take different tests depending on the type of vehicle. Driver's tests. I mean, it's jacked. I mean, like that's really not like he's like, oh my God. I mean, like people are like, oh, how dare. I'm like, look, man, the dude was probably struggling and he needed to make some money. Shit. I mean, look, I'm not gonna necessarily blame him, like, oh, how dare he. Look, they needed to pay this person more. If you'd pay the dude more, he probably wouldn't have been skimming off the top. Big spender, 12 grand.
So are we gonna move on to the next topic?
Yes, the next topic is a big one. It's a good friend of ours, Sony.
And this is probably going to be a bigger bite than what happened at Square Enix.
Well, yes, Square Enix, we were talking about a man committing fraud on a small scale. But now we're talking about a big, huge corporation, international corporation, that's in multiple countries, on multiple continents, that is basically defrauding many people. And also doing some shady stuff in the background. Now, some of you who follow the video game industry probably know some of this on the underside, but some of this background, but some of it's new even to me. And I follow the video game industry relatively closely because of the nature of who I am and what I do for my own personal business. But basically, this is an article from someone named Alex9234. And basically, it's an article on Video Game Facts, the Discus channel, Video Game Facts. Should antitrust laws be used to break up Sony? And essentially, the entire article is filled with information that lets us know that Sony essentially is doing some very shady things underneath the ground in order to promote support for their system, for their video game system. Like, I mean, you know, essentially the whole deal they made with Square Enix to pull Japanese RPG support from Nintendo home consoles over to Sony consoles. You know, and even bringing up the whole, well, you know, it wasn't cartridges. It was never cartridges. Because if that was the if that was the case, then why is it that RPGs could be put on a 3DS cartridge or a DS cartridge or a Game Boy Advance cartridge?
And if anybody's keeping up more recently, they keep certain companies from communications with other gamers. If I got it.
So
I was trying to be sure of the more recent history. They tried to say that you can't play with from another system, even though that somehow there was a leak that said that an Xbox player was able to play for a moment with an player.
Yeah, so I mean, this isn't, but we all know this. Look, the reason Sony doesn't want online multi-platform is because they want you to buy a PS4. Okay, that's what it's about. And they want you to buy it on a PS4. That's it. Okay.
What about the Vita? Or is that pretty much dead?
The Vita is
place.
The Vita is dead. The Vita. Let me put it this way: if the Vita was in a bar fight, like a horrific bar fight, it would have been stabbed, run over, have gasoline tossed on it, and lit, and someone strikes a match and throws it on its body. And if I hear anyone say, "But I love my Vita," I'm not. See, here's the thing: people need to understand. Just because you like something doesn't make it a valid product to the mass market. Okay, like
it has to have an appeal that's large, in the comparison to another product. And
yeah,
it's a product that can rival the 3DS. And sadly, we know where that goes.
Well, I'll give you an example, okay? I love a brand of cola that I get. It's an organic cola called Damn Good. Okay, they make all types of sodas. They do Damn Good ginger ale, Damn Good orange soda, Damn Good orange cream, Damn Good lavender soda, Damn Good cherry soda. And but the first thing that I ever had from them is Damn Good cola. Now, I enjoy Damn Good cola. It's really good. It's made with pure cane sugar, organic cola syrup. It doesn't have high fructose corn syrup. It's really good. It's really good for making floats too. It's damn good. That's all I guess. But here's the thing: just because I enjoy Damn Good doesn't mean that I can say, you know, Damn Good competes with Coca-Cola. It doesn't, because you know what? Damn Good is a very niche product. Yeah.
But either way, both are not very healthy for you.
Well, I'm not saying you should drink Damn Good every day, but every once in a while you want to have a Coke, you drink Damn Good. It's pretty good. It's damn good, as a matter of fact.
So back to the matter at hand.
Yeah, but back to the matter at hand. But yes, the antitrust, basically Sony is doing a lot of competitive practices in order to stop competition in the free market. And you know what?
It's to the point that even Microsoft is starting to question them.
Well, but Microsoft did the same thing.
Microsoft isn't clean on this either. But
yeah, Microsoft did the same thing. So did Nintendo. Like, all of them at some point had monopolistic practices. You want to know why Nintendo was able to become known as the RPG console for 2 gens? Because they had monopolistic practices where it's like, you can only put Final Fantasy on our system. You can only put Dragon Quest on our system. So Sega said, okay, fine then. We'll make our own Final Fantasy. And they did Phantasy Star, which, I mean, let's keep it real. The first 3 games suck. They're terrible.
It took a while before they kicked into a better gear.
I mean, they got better with each iteration, but the best Phantasy Star game is the last one, which is Phantasy Star 4. Like, Phantasy Star 1 is too damn hard. Phantasy Star 2 is easier, but it still has really bad dungeon design. Phantasy Star 3 is a little bit better than that, but it's kind of bland and generic. Phantasy Star 4 is the best Phantasy Star in existence. Unfortunately, by that time, Phantasy Star 4 had to go up against Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger. And Phantasy Star 4 is a great game, but is it as good as Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger? I don't think so.
That's like trying to compare a model toy versus deluxe action figures.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you know, like, I mean, they've all done it, but the problem is that, okay, when Nintendo did its monopolistic practices, those companies didn't really go out of business by and large. Like, Square Enix didn't go out of business from the NES to the SNES generation. Atlas didn't go out of business between the NES to the SNES generation. Konami didn't go out of business from generation to generation. There are companies that literally from the PS1 to the PS2 to the PS3 generation are no longer, they don't exist anymore because of Sony's bullshit. Same thing with Microsoft. These are 2 companies that are not good for the industry. They hurt the industry. And by proxy, they hurt gamers.
And before anybody says it, they did not hurt gamers like what those 2 did. Besides, happily because they wanted to be sure that the industry could get better again. And that was back in the NES and SNES era.
So, I mean, I'm just saying it's ridiculous. And I mean, at the end of the day, look, listen. Sony has been doing a lot of shady shit for years. We all know it. I've said numerous times, Sony they're not to be trusted. I don't trust Sony. I mean, if you're a business, don't get in bed with them because they will screw you over. Okay, you're gonna
feel dirty from playing with them.
Yeah. For lack of a better word, let me explain Sony to you. Okay. The third parties that did little exclusivity deals with Sony are like young women, and Sony is Bill Cosby. Sony gave them a drink.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Because I know where this is going.
And 9 out of 10 of those companies woke up the next day, or a few hours later, violated. Okay, they were violated. Now, I'm not saying there isn't that one third party that's like, Sony was great for us, we did well. But the rest of them, shoot.
And despite all of these shady tactics Sony has been doing, there's no way that antitrust laws would affect them either way.
Well, not in Japan, no. Because, like I said, I mean, basically, here's the thing, okay? Antitrust laws need to be done every place where Sony does business. In Japan, they're not going to do that because Sony has their hands in a lot of different other aspects of the Japanese business culture. And Japanese business culture is very different from what we have here in America or even in Europe or the UK. And as far as if it, will it happen in Japan? The only way Sony will have that happen in Japan is if they do a major F up, like major F up, and they start hemorrhaging money at a rate that makes the PS3 generation look like a day in the park. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, unless something something could happen. Someone could come out with a new format that kicks Blu-ray's ass, and renders a lot of their business moot, and Sony would be fucked.
Would that be HD digital?
I don't know. I mean, personally, I think Blu-ray already is kind of fucked, because when you think about it, who cares about why would I spend $20 on a Blu-ray disc when I could spend $20 and get all the Netflix and Hulu I want? Like Blu-ray only has one movie on it. Because they don't make dual Blu-rays, generally speaking. It's not like with the DVDs back in the day where you'd have a HD DVD that had I have the Addams Family collection, Addams Family Values on two HD DVD discs, but it's one cut is the theatrical cut and the other side is the extended cut with extra scenes that were taken out and put back in, for both versions of the movie, for both movies. And they can do that with HD DVD because HD DVD was cheap. Blu-ray is not cheap. Blu-ray is not as cheap as HD DVD, and it's not as easy a medium to use. So you don't get a lot of extra features. You don't get a lot of extra bennies on it. It's just, hey, it's a Blu-ray. As a matter of fact, I recently got the Blu-ray version of the Godzilla 60-year collection. And all the extras that I have on the DVD for the HD DVD collection, they basically have. It's basically the same shit I have the HD DVD collection, except it's DVDs of the same stuff that I have already on the disc for the HD DVD collection. So Blu-ray, Blu-ray. The only thing you're getting with Blu-ray is just better graphics. That's it. There's nothing else on top of that.
And it's also harder to scratch, which is a main selling point. Because DVD discs always get scratched. It can mess things up.
Yeah, but okay. If it's a tape, if it's a cassette, if it's a disc, even Blu-ray, every time you use a Blu-ray, every time you use a DVD or something like that, you're scratching the disc. The medium is degrading. The only storage medium that's relatively stable, it degrades so slowly that the point is moot is solid based data storage, which is why if you maintain a cartridge correctly, the data on that cartridge will outlive you. You'll die, that cartridge will still be playable if you maintain it properly. But that's neither here nor there. No, I don't think Sony is ever. I don't think they're never going to do it in Japan because Sony has their hands in too much stuff, and the government owns part of Sony, so because they hold some of its debt. So I mean, unless there's a major F up, Sony takes out so much debt from the government that they have to step in and take control over it. That's the only way I could see that happening. But even then.
Or if Japan suffers a crash economically.
Well, they've already weathered 10 recessions. So, I mean, they've had 10 recessions and Sony's still not, still hasn't lost their money. But still hasn't been broken up. So, it is what it is. But, I mean, to be fair, Sony's already kind of falling apart anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, the same things that they do in order to maintain the quote-unquote dominance of their money-losing enterprises is the same thing that's also destroying them. I mean, them paying out money for exclusives that don't sell that well. But people are buying PS4s. It doesn't fucking matter because The people who are buying PS4s are only getting 2 or 3 games. That's not enough to sustain a platform.
And also the saddest part that once Sony goes under, their only legacy is going to be having the highest selling console of all time, which is the PS2.
Yeah, I guess. Definitely not the most profitable console of all time, though.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that company that they always like to shit on, Nintendo screwed us over and we will destroy them. Almost every single gen, they have the most profitable console. The NES, the SNES, the N64. Yes, I said it, you fanboys. The N64 overall was a more profitable console than the PlayStation 1. Okay? The GameCube was more profitable than the PS2. And we all know that the Wii, just in terms of profit alone, curb stomped both the PS3 and the Xbox 360 at the same time. And the Wii U, despite what many people may tell you, actually did made more money than both of those consoles, its competitors. And the Switch probably isn't as profitable as the PS4 is yet. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of its life cycle, it will have crushed the money that Sony, the little bit of profitability that Sony has on the PS4, which might be 20 or 30 million. It's not that much.
So I do wish a Nintendo system were to dethrone the PS2, because I'm a firm believer that any form of medium that's #1 on the greatest of all time or highest selling of all time, it needs to be dethroned by a new blood.
Well, I mean, they do, because the PS4 sold 154. The DS sold 155, so that beat it.
Isn't that the other way around?
No,
I thought it was the DS that sold 154.
No, or maybe it is the other way around. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Here's why I say it doesn't matter, because the #1 highest. At the end of the day, hardware doesn't matter. It's the software that matters, and like Sony still has not dethroned the king of first-party software.
Yeah, because they've been neglecting their first-party IPs for recent years now.
Well, I would say from the end of the PS2 era, so let's say 99 till now, they've pretty much neglected their first party. So for 18 years, they've neglected first party titles. $18 years. So
a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, let me put it this way. That basically, if 10 years is a generation, for almost 2 generations, human generations, 10 years, they have neglected their first party. So that's why Sony can't really turn much of a profit on their console, because they don't put any real money or effort behind their first party. That's why the Vita failed. Everyone's like, well, the Vita was a wonderful piece of tech. It doesn't matter. The 3DS is a wonderful piece of tech. None of the 3D doesn't fucking matter if people aren't buying games for the system. And that's the problem with the Vita. Like, I have a Vita TV. I paid $25 for it. Because it was
How was it?
The only reason what?
How was it?
It's a Vita without the screen or any of the other bullshit, and it comes with an 8 GB memory card. The only reason I got it is because there was like 5 or 6 games I got for the Vita that were like $1.99, 99 cents, but really good games during a Golden Week sale, and I was like, I'll get a Vita eventually. But I was like, when I saw the prices of the Vita and then I saw how much the memory was, I'm like, there's no way on God's green earth.
Monstrous.
But what's the point of the Vita? but what's the point of the Vita TV when the Vita is basically a portable version of the PS3? When you could just buy a PS3?
Well, because the reason they did the Vita TV was because, like, the Vita was failing, and this was their last gasp at making it a viable platform. Okay, that's like, here's the thing: the Vita TV is a fucking stupid idea. Because here's the thing: when they tried the Vita TV, smart TVs and Roku and Sling boxes were really popular. Why in the hell would you buy a Vita TV, which at the time when it came out was $99, when you could spend $50 to less? Because you have to remember, at that time when the Vita TV came out, people were also buying people's cable boxes had smart TV functionality, right? So you could stream your Netflix and all that other stuff through it. So for a lot of people who had cable at the time, and streamed had Netflix or Hulu at the time or whatever, if they had all this already, why would they spend another $100 for Sony's shitty service? You know what I mean?
That's like trying the trigger when instead you get at least
Joel, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Ah, crack.
So I think we've talked enough about Sony today.
Yeah.
We can move on to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
The fraudsters. So let's talk about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and how it's a total and complete failure. How it's selling dismally everywhere. Like, literally, I didn't think it was possible. This game is selling worse than Street Fighter V.
It's selling that bad?
It's selling worse than Street Fighter V. Like, by now, Street Fighter V was like, I want to say 500, 600,000. This game is still under 500,000.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I also found this one article from Shoryuken. I'll post it right here. It says here that there's a rumor going on that the 3 DLC characters that they announced Friday, they were originally ready to be in the initial roster, but they were moved, but they were promoted to being DLC characters.
Yeah, because Sony knew this game was gonna bomb. They knew it was gonna bomb, and I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. This game should have been in the oven a little bit longer. This game should have launched. Well, it should have launched alongside Infinity War, which comes out next year.
Well, that will mark the return of movie-based video games, and movie-based video games have a very, very harsh reputation.
Look, I understand what you're coming from, but that would have been like some of the best marketing for this game ever. You know what I mean? Like, because people would have said, "Hey," and not every movie-based game is terrible. I mean, Batman Returns for the SNES was great. It was a beat 'em up, but it was great.
And the original Batman NES game.
Yeah, but the original Batman NES game had nothing to do with the movie. It didn't even. It was like, yeah, it's got Batman in it. That's about it. It wasn't, Batman Returns literally overall beat for beat was the movie. Like you had scenes from the movie. It had like the clowns from the sewer attack the parade, and there's this guy where he shoots the grappling hook, and he knocks the plaster out of the thing, and it hits the guy, and meets Selena Kyle, and like it literally like beat for beat it kind of followed the movie. Whereas if you have never seen the original Tim Burton's Batman, all you played was the NES game, and then you watch the movie, you're like, what the hell is this? Because it follows, like the only thing that follows is that the end you fight the Joker. That's it.
And let me think of another movie. Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is really good. Yeah.
Especially now it's being resurged to popularity because of that Pizza Time side missions.
Well, the Pizza Time side missions were kind of shitty, but the game was just fun. You know. But anyway, no, I do not support. I do not support, nor do I. I do not support, nor do I. I'm not saying that all movie-based. I'm not saying that all movie-based video games, like games, need to be tied into movies. But Marvel versus Capcom Infinite would have been perfect to come out like, because first of all, it would have given them more time to make the game more complete, to polish the game up, to have more features day one. Because like I said, like between Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, there was like a 3-year interval. Right? It was almost like a brand new engine between the two games. Whereas this game is based off of Street Fighter V. So that's not an excuse. This game should be more polished than what it is. And because they didn't spend enough time working on it. And if they had waited, if they had this game come out a week before Marvel Infinity War, probably would have had more time. It probably would have been a more polished product. First of all, why are they launching this game in the fall? Like,
and speaking of Street Fighter V,
on you.
They just announced an arcade edition.
Yeah. I mean, it's Capcom. What do you what do you expect? Like, yes, and rain is wet. Syrup is sticky. Grease is greasy.
The sky is blue.
Yes, the sky is blue, water is wet. Some people are really, really stupid. I mean, I'm
just waiting for Capcom to confirm the Super Street Fighter V update.
They'll do it. Here's what they'll probably do. Okay, if Capcom is smart, they'll say, well, if you already have Street Fighter V, and all the DLC, you get the update for free. And you know, you could, if you have it on PC, you can download it. If you have it on PS4, you can download it as well. However, for those of you who don't have the game, you can buy it for like $39.99 or $29.99. They'll probably do $39.99.
But here's the catch: those who first bought the original Street Fighter V copy and update it and get the arcade edition update, they still won't be able to get the DLC characters unlocked by default. They have to.
I mean, okay, fine then. I wouldn't be averse to that if they said you have to unlock those characters, because that's how it used to be back in the day. You'd have to unlock characters. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that this is Capcom, and they're not going to do even the decency of saying, if you bought the game already, like,
it's because the arcade edition has all of the DLC characters in the initial roster.
Yeah. What they're probably going to do is just charge people. Like, if you already bought the game but you didn't do the season pass or any of that stuff, they're going to say, well, for like $10, you unlock it, you get the you can download it and you get like the arcade edition or whatever. I mean, look, let's keep it real. Capcom has been shit for years. Capcom has been shit for years. Capcom has not been good for years. The only part of Capcom, game making wise, that still kind of makes the only part of Capcom that still makes good games are the Monster Hunter people, and they're already starting to f up with this Monster Hunter World shit. So, and the Ace Attorney people, but they didn't keep on making Ace Attorney games. You know, like they did Ace Attorney all the way up to Apollo Justice, and then they kind of stopped making them for like 2 or 3 years. I think maybe 4 years, and then they started back again. So it's like, what was with the hiatus between Ace Attorney? You know,
either they ran out of ideas or something came up in the background.
I don't know.
Or by popular demand.
I don't know.
But back to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite bashing. So, and the confirmed list of DLC characters consists of 4 Marvel characters and 2 Capcom characters, which is very, very uneven. Because that means you got more Marvel characters than Capcom characters. So in order to balance that out, the second season has to have at least 2 Marvel characters and 4 Capcom characters.
Yeah, but this is Capcom. Listen. Capcom, like I said right now, they are the fat, lazy, sitting on the couch with a wife beater on, watching TV, former athlete whose knee got blown out in their freshman year and they dropped out of college, and now they're just a bum living in a trailer, getting a disability check. Developer. They aren't gonna, like, anything that takes effort, they're just gonna fuck it up because they don't have an incentive to do it well these days.
I mean,
Except for the Monster Hunter.
Really?
It's ruining my OCD.
I mean, that could be the case. I mean, I'm just saying you know, they're probably gonna mess it up because that's what they do. We have some comments here in the live chat. 3 from Trinell83. 1 from String Anime. Yo, what's up, man? Sorry, just getting to you, just looking at it. Ninsane Gamer says the Vita is dead, but it just won't go away. It's like a zombie. I mean, it's appropriate we talk about the Vita in October with Halloween coming up and everything. It's like a zombie, except it's a zombie you shoot in the head, and it's dead everywhere except in Japan. They just, like, I love my Vita. String Anime says he's working on a Street Fighter VR. Man, if you're working on Street Fighter VR where you're getting punched and punching people in the face in first person, that game would probably make people have an aneurysm.
Oh, speaking of VR, there was an adult film company creating a VR experience featuring Twintel.
Wow, that's creepy.
Unusual.
It's just creepy. It's just really, like, here's the thing. Okay, look. Everyone has their own kinky thing they like to do. That's just life. That's just human sexuality. What seems abnormal for one person might be perfectly normal for another. I'm not gonna look. Whatever makes you happy, get your freak on. I don't care. But with that being said,
moving on.
But with that being said, VR really? Here's what I'll say. If the porn industry can hold on, and we ever get hologram suite technology from like Star Trek, it's over. It's over. Why go with virtual reality when you can have real reality? Photonic reality, my friend. You know, why get some shitty porn actress who looks kind of sort of a little bit like Halle Berry when you could get basically the real thing?
And of course, U.S. laws will have to adapt by with the VR technology, just to make sure that more sex offenders are put behind bars.
Well, I mean, you'd have to legislate something. It's like, well, you know, some sex offenders like, hey man, I know there's animals in there, but I mean they're not real. This is my fantasy. And then you'd have to legislate, well, if something disturbing happens in a holo suite, is it the same as if you actually did it? personally speaking, look, if someone has sick tendencies, I would rather them do it in a hollow suite than in real life, because that way it's not real people. But that's just me. That's neither here nor there. Let's get to the to some more comments. Falcon Launch says Capcom are such garbage right now. Yes, we all agree Capcom is garbage. Trinell83, I wonder if they'll screw up Monster Hunter World since they've been screwing up. They have been screwing up lately, back after back. I don't know.
Don't push.
I mean, Capcom, you know those cartoons where, those Tom and Jerry cartoons where they're doing yard work and someone leaves a rake, someone steps on the rake and it smashes them in the face?
Uh-huh.
That's Capcom, except the yard is full of rakes and wherever they go, they step on the rake and it smashes them in the face. So, yeah. So I bought this is Nova Region. I bought Street Fighter V for it's $20, but I still feel ripped off. If Capcom were committed to games as a service, they wouldn't offer any characters season pass. Just make the characters free all around. Yeah, man, but how are they gonna milk your wallet? Gotta think, Nova Region. Gotta think. String Anime says it's esports exclusive. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool, dude. Street Fighter V VR is an esports exclusive, but if it is, why though? String Anime Trinell says.
How can Street Fighter VR be an esports thing when esports players hate anything that doesn't resemble traditional controls?
I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing: Capcom is. Can we just agree that Capcom just does stupid shit and move on from there? Because I mean, these are the same people who are like, okay, Street Fighter V launched incomplete. Well, we put it out to go with the competitive scene. But there's a problem with that statement, though. Most of the people who play Street Fighter don't play it competitively. Your biggest market are casuals. So why are you catering to the hardcore market? Why are you rushing an incomplete product out for the hardcore market when the casuals would appreciate a more polished product? And that's your bigger market. Like, I don't...
And they also toned down the gameplay mechanics to appeal to the casuals.
Allegedly. I mean, personally speaking, having played Street Fighter V, it's garbage. It's garbage all around. They messed up two of my favorite characters. So no matter what goes on, well, no, they messed up two of my favorite characters and they completely dropped the ball with the third one. So he's not even in the game. So F him. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Personally, I'm just gonna keep it real. All the people who made Street Fighter 2 and Final Fight left Capcom. Most of them, like 95% of them, left Capcom and went to go create their own company called Arc System Works. So if you want to play the true successor to Street Fighter, play Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, because that's the closest you're gonna get.
And Dragon Ball FighterZ, even though that game too is being criticized for its roster.
Well, I'm not going to say Dragon Ball FighterZ because Dragon Ball FighterZ is a license. It's a licensed game where they're using a license and doing something else with it. It's like if someone said, "I'm a fan of Zelda, we'll go play Hyrule Warriors." It's like, no, if you're a fan of Zelda, I wouldn't tell you to play Hyrule Warriors because it's not a Zelda game. It's like it's a Dynasty
Warriors game.
Yeah, it's a Dynasty Warriors game with a Zelda skin on it and some Zelda quirks about it. Like if you're like, I would play because there are certain quirks about Dragon Ball Warriors that aren't necessarily commensurate with Dragon Ball Z games thus far. I mean, it's more like Dragon Ball Z Budokai than it is, which it works for me. But if all you've been playing are those shitty Tenkaichi games and Dragon Ball Cross Zone, the games where it's like it's an alternate time and all that shit, then you're not gonna like, because I mean, it depends on what you've been playing, and most of the fan base is playing those shitty games. So that's what. Falcon Launch asked a question. Which characters did they mess up, Red? You're curious. Okay, I'll tell you. They messed up Bison. They messed up Guile. And Sagat isn't even in the damn game. So there you go.
Though he is rumored to appear in the Super Street Fighter V update.
I don't care. I don't. At this point, I don't care. I literally. They could have Sagat appear in Street Fighter, the Ultimate, the arcade version. I don't care. See. Here's the thing. Like, Capcom doesn't understand the simple rule about Street Fighter. Okay. Street Fighter 2 is the game that cemented the Street Fighter series. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So those characters are the core roster. It's like Smash Brothers, okay? Smash Brothers cemented the original core roster. That cemented those characters. I don't care who you add to the game. You cannot get rid of those core characters. But these bastards dropped core characters from Street Fighter 2 in the subsequent games. And that's messed up, okay? And changing characters' movesets. Well, I know M. Bison had these moves. He can't have these anymore because, no, forget you. You want to add a new character? Add a new character. But don't change the moveset of an old character because of reasons. Yeah, they added. Yeah, I never liked Charlie, so I was like, they were like, Charlie's in the game instead of Guile. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't like Charlie. Well, because Charlie's theme music wasn't as good as Guile's. Like, that's the only reason I originally liked Guile, because he had the cool theme music.
I was gonna say that has his own problems. Let him sort those out.
I mean, let's keep it real. Technically speaking, like, the only reason I don't like Street Fighter V, aside from its buggy glitchiness and the fact that entire characters are missing, is that they messed up two of my favorite characters and they dropped the ball on the third one. Like I said, I'm a huge M. Bison fan, but I'm like Street Fighter 2 and 3 M. Bison fan, not a Street Fighter 4 and 5 M. Bison fan. They messed up.
But Bison does not appear in 3, only in 2
well,
and Alpha.
Sorry, Alpha. Okay, like, that's the Bison I like. The Bison with the cape and the rolling dash and that cheap ass slide kick that people who aren't really good at fighting games can't block, and just that's the Bison I like. I like that Bison who, like, the whole point about Bison is that he's a cheap bastard. He's got overwhelming offense, decent defense, he's fast. That's the whole point. The only real weakness he has is that he has no projectile. That's all you had to do. But no. They created a new moveset for M. Bison because they wanted to, not because he needed it. But to hell with them. I'm done.
They did it for competitive purposes.
No, man. Don't look, man. Whenever Capcom says we did this for competitive purposes, that's bullshit. Okay? And I'll tell you why it's bullshit. If the largest market for a game is casual, why are you adding things for the smallest part of the market? That makes no sense.
Only if your aim is very low.
Let me put it this way, okay? Let's say you own a business, okay? Let's say you own a pizzeria, okay? And most of the people who come in there want sausage and mushroom, pepperoni, normal toppings. But then you have, like, out of like 500 customers, you have 3 people who want a pizza with habanero sauce and habanero chili flakes and habanero infused pepperoni. And then you decide. You're cutting out, Joel. Repeat what you said.
No, that's trying to drive your customers away with stuff like that.
Well, I know, and what I was about to say is that, and then you decide to get rid of all the normal shit on your menu and just cater to those 3 people. You threw away 500 people so that you can cater to these 3. That is stupid. That's basically what Capcom says when they say, we did this for competitive play. Bullshit. You didn't. You didn't do it for competitive play. You did it because you wanted to change up the game. Fair enough.
At least you can keep the stuff that works.
Yeah. To hell with them. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I can't. Fuck them. I'm done. I haven't bought Street Fighter 5. Well, no, that's not true. I have it on PC. I paid like $10 for it. It was on sale. I have Street Fighter 5 on PC. I play it occasionally, but I'm not like, oh my god, this is the best game ever. It's because it's not. Street Fighter. Look, if you want to play a good Street Fighter experience, just get Ultra Final Edition Tournament Mode Street Fighter 2 for the Switch. You'll be much happier.
I believe you on that.
And yes, Trinell 83, Budokai 3 was awesome. It's my personal favorite. Competitive players don't even like Street Fighter 5 that much. Several pros said they only play for the tournament money. You're right, Falcon. Here's the thing. Like I said, basically molding everything to compete solely to the competitive market is stupid if you're a business, because that's like the smallest niche, right? Literally 0.001% of all the people that play Street Fighter play it competitively. So why are you gearing everything to cater to the smallest amount of people?
Because they're the loudest.
So, there's a small minority of people here in the United States who think the Earth is flat. Should we change the textbooks because they're the loudest? Oh, the Earth is flat. No, it isn't. Shut up. Look, they're entitled to have their opinion, but it's wrong. So, and they're in the smallest minority. So, no, they're entitled to it, but that doesn't mean we have to abide to their insane demands. But that's neither here nor there. That's all I'm simply saying is that it's stupid to essentially change everything just because there's not even 1% of the gaming populace is playing this stuff competitively. When I played in a few tournaments myself, not for money but just for prestige, we did Street Fighter 2, Guilty Gear for 2D. They also had Darkstalkers, but I've never been a huge Darkstalkers fan, so I watched them play, but I'm not that into it. And SNK, but I'm not a huge SNK fan, so there you go. And the 3D, like the two fighting games I'm relatively good with is Soul Calibur and
Mortal Kombat?
Soul Calibur and Street Fighter, like Street Fighter 2 and Guilty Gear. Those are the fighting games I'm good at. You hand it to me and I can pretty much kick in with that. I'm not good at Mortal Kombat because Mortal Kombat is the control scheme is not good for me. So
that I can understand.
Yeah. It's a weird, the whole Dowla combo thing is just not I hate that. I hate Dowla combo. Which is weird because Killer Instinct has Dowla combos too, but it's not as bad.
And moving on to the next questions from the chat box.
Do we have any other questions? I don't think we do. I think we've covered all the other stuff. So let's get to the fun topic. And then we can wrap things up. So here we have two fun topics. The first one I hope is going to be very fun. It is, you find a portal and you jump inside of it. Now this portal will take you to any video game world you want and let you be there. But here's the thing. You can't turn into someone else. You're not Mario if you're in the Mushroom Kingdom. You're not Link if you're in Hyrule. You can't be the hero. You can't be the villain. You're you. Where would you go and why? Who wants to go
That's
first?
that's a tricky question.
Well, I'll let you go last, Joel. I'll let you go first.
Me.
Pinky, yeah.
It has to be a video game world where it's safe for me to go to.
Man, it's your choice.
So I don't have to risk my life dying.
It's your choice, man. It's your choice, man. You choose and then give the reason why. Why you go there.
It's got to be either the world of Pokemon, the world of Splatoon, or the world of ARMS.
And why?
Because in those games, you don't die in those games. Well, in Splatoon, you just respawn. and also, I've always wanted to. I always wanted to have my own team of Pokemon in real life with my own favorites. Because I always imagine myself being as I always imagine an OC that's more of myself in a Pokemon anime where I tend to bump into Ash's group time to time.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. I would rather be in the Pokemon universe than those other two, because Splatoon, like the rest of humanity, died basically, except for like some cats, and like the ARMS world is too weird for me. It's just too weird. Just too damn weird. But Pokemon would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to be a Pokemon trainer, and I would style myself like Red, and I would go out of my way to just destroy Ash Ketchum's team all the time.
And also my OC would be some kind of teacher who because as of right now, the current anime, Ash is in a Pokemon school, and I was imagining my OC being a substitute teacher for that school and has trouble trying to teach Ash the basic mathematical lessons of Pokeballs. Like, how there's this complicated mathematic equation on the chances of a Pokemon being caught in a certain Pokeball, which is the Great Ball, Master Balls, Ultra Balls, Timer Balls. It's the same type of mathematic equation that players use to calculate the percentage of success of catching a Pokemon, especially when it comes to catching the legendaries, because they have a 3% catch rate of a regular Pokeball.
Yeah, I was aware of that. I never knew the exact numbers, but I was aware of that. Actually, I thought maybe the big one would be, look, Ash, stop throwing out your Pikachu against everything. This is a rock type, man. Look, your Pikachu is not going to do anything against this rock type. Thunderbolt! Look, man.
It's actually a ground type that's ineffective from electric moves. Rock types as neutral.
Yeah, it still doesn't do anything. It's like, oh, I used Lightning Blast. It did nothing.
Also, Ash's Pikachu knows Iron Tail, which is super effective against rock types. So it has an advantage.
Because if you have a Geodude and it knows Earthquake, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. That's my whole point. It's just I get tired of the anime where he just throws out his Deus Ex Machina Pikachu that can use thunder attacks against Pokemon, and it makes no sense. Sorry.
There is an exception. There's an exception in the XY anime where his last Pokemon was a Greninja, and that lost to some guy's Charizard, who was a Mega Evolve.
Yeah, if the Charizard Mega evolved into a Dragon type, maybe, because that gives some kind of defense against those water attacks. But because I have used a Greninja against a fire type, and it knows this thing called Smackdown where it throws the rock and it can knock down flying types, and then you can go to town on the Charizard because it can't fly anymore. It's really very simple, really.
Yeah, the the Charizard Ashes Greninja was facing was indeed the Mega Charizard X that's part dragon.
Well, that was the end of that, because a dragon will always beat a ninja, as we all know. But but anyway, so we waxed poetic on Pinky Dons. What's yours, Jewel?
Considering what he said in a sense of Pokemon and if anything, one's easy enough to understand, and well, you're basically running the town, and how they run the other, well, you're just training to be the best that you can be.
I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Dun, dun, dun. To text is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. That's all I know. that's all I know of that song. But yeah, okay, fair enough. So, and why you just like the whole atmosphere and how simple it is?
Yeah, the atmosphere and simplicity in a sense, but also because of anything, it always feels good to know that you up and you got to the top.
Okay, fair enough.
Not to mention that, as showed from the anime, humans can survive even the deadliest Pokemon moves.
Allegedly, unless it's from Mewtwo, because he will totally kill you.
Good point there.
Because they can survive a flamethrower for comedic effect.
Yeah, but that's the TV show. The anime, Pokemon kill people in the anime. I mean, in the manga. Like people in the manga, not the manga based on Ash Ketchum, the manga based on the original protagonist, Red, Blue, Green. Like, yeah. Pokemon friggin' kill people in the manga, and I'm okay with that because that makes more sense than, oh, your Pokemon fainted. No, your Pokemon died, bro. It's dead.
It got destroyed.
You better bring it back to the place so they can bring it back. So I guess it's my turn. See, you guys chose the Pokemon world because, you know, you guys are really interested in Pokemon. I chose some place where I could be safe and not have people attack me. So I chose the WarioWare Incorporated world because
you honestly live with Garlic Man.
Well, because I wouldn't have to live with them. And
what about the world of Animal Crossing? That's also safe.
No, man. I don't want to deal with no talking animals. and that stinking raccoon that owns everything. That's like a damn slumlord and holds everyone's debt. To hell with him. Tom Nook. No, me. I would go with I would go to the WarioWare Incorporated world because we know that there's ice cream. People can attack the police and they don't go to jail. Like you can have horrific upset stomach and be over the toilet and apparently come up with a mini game, with a set of mini games, and you can sell that and make money. So even like the worst things that could happen to you could turn out to be a good thing. You could make money off of it. The only thing you have to worry about is Wario might try and steal your IP, but I'm pretty sure there's lawyers in that world too. So yeah, I'd rather be there because that'd be fun. I mean, sure, Wario would try and steal my stuff occasionally, but I mean, I could deal with Wario. Hell, there's people like Wario in the real world. So yeah, that's mine. So we have some answers in here from some of the viewers. Trinell83 says, Fire Emblem because I find my waifu Lindis. I don't even know who Lindis is.
Lynn. That's Lynn from the GBA Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, but calls her Lindis, whatever.
That's her full name.
Oh, okay, there you go. Okay. String Anime Dynamite Hetty to be part of the show. That would be kind of fun, but I mean, there's all that weird stuff attacking you, and it's just eh. Trinell has another one, Xenoblade Chronicles, because I want to pilot a Gundam, a Skell. Yeah, but everything's trying to kill you, and I don't want to have to pilot a mech and stuff. I want to live a normal life and not be attacked. Plus, there's that whole those aliens that were like killing people and taking them over. Nah, that's not. And Falcon Lot says maybe a classic RPG world like Grandia for all the places to explore. See, that's the thing. You'd have to actually know how to fight and use magic. Like, I don't want to do all that junk because you're going as you. You can't you don't have any special abilities. Like you're you. So I chose something where I knew I could live.
That's the reason why I said Animal Crossing or Pokemon. You have at least some way of actually working with the world.
Yeah. I noticed no one here said Hyrule or Corneria.
That's because Hyrule and Corneria is full of wars.
Or the Mario universe.
That's because you can easily die in the Mario world.
Aren't we?
With so many platforms.
Well, not just that. Mario might kill you. Mario might use your head as a bumper to reach a higher plot, and you're dead. And Mario was just trying to go over here. Yeah.
You use your back to use as weaponry.
Or Mario might light your best friend on fire.
Let's not forget the fact that everything will try to kill you.
Yeah, everything will try to kill you. So yeah. Mario, fun game. Wouldn't want to live there. Barney's hide and seek for Sega. String anime. You're going too far, my friend. You're going too far. So here's the next fun question, and then we'll wrap things up because I like to have fun questions. With games like Smash Brothers and PlayStation All-Stars and Namco Cross Capcom. And
if I'm hearing those, I'm guessing the question, which character would you want to add into the next version of the game?
No. That's not it.
Which crossover games we want?
Yes, actually. Now, here's the thing. This doesn't have to be realistic. This can be totally unrealistic. This is a fun question. You do not have to bow to reality for this.
I got so many ideas for this.
You got to pick
why
one crossover game. Give us the genre, the crossovers, and a general idea of how the game would play. Who wants to go first?
I'll let Joel go first.
Okay, so what was it, Joel?
I wasn't sure who was going first, so I took a roll on first. Banjo-Kazooie cross Mega Man.
Okay, what
or at least
genre
something
would it be?
like it.
What genre would it be? Would it be a 2D game, a 3D game, an open world adventure? What?
I'd actually want it as a 2D with a bit of a hub world, but also where we'll actually choose which way will you actually explore the land, like a.
So it would be like a Metroid with a hub world.
Yeah.
Okay. And you would switch between Banjo-Kazooie and maybe Mega Man and Zero?
Yeah, in order to use certain power-ups or certain tricks that they could pull off.
Oh, well, that sounds kind of fun, actually. Okay, that does sound like a fun game. Okay, you're next, Pinky.
Okay, I've been thinking through, and I decided Super Smash Brothers X Disney. It's a fighting crossover of a crossover.
So is it like a fighting game like Smash Brothers, or is this like a core fighting game?
It's a like fighting game like Smash Brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
Fighting game like Smash Brothers.
So
but I also made my own rules on how it works.
Okay, go ahead.
because of the Disney license, the roster will have to be cut off. Will have to be cut up to only characters representing their own franchises and no secondary characters from those franchises. So no Luigi, no Jigglypuff, no Roy. Just
that's some fat trimming.
Yeah, it's to make room. It's to make room for the Disney characters.
So Mickey, Donald, Goofy.
Yeah. And they also have the idea of having them paired based on the theming. Like, for example, Mario, Mickey Mouse being rivals because of the mascots, Kirby and Jack Skellington because of Dreams and Nightmares, Villager from Animal Crossing, and Judy Hopps from Zootopia because they're both from animal themed franchises.
Fair enough. That actually sounds pretty fun.
Star Fox and Darth Vader because they're from sci-fi franchises.
Fair enough. Maybe Samus versus Tron.
Actually, I already have a rival for Samus, which is Elsa from Frozen. I already have Tron being a rival to Rob the Robot.
Yeah, that makes more sense actually. Yeah. Well, I see you've given some thought to this. I might have to give the gold medal to you, but wait until you've heard my game. As you guys know, I'm a huge RPG nut. So
this be an interesting crossover.
But here's something we've never seen. What if not all, but what if 2 or 3 characters from the top RPG fan franchises, not just in terms of sales, but critical reception and contribution and memorability and stuff like that, were put into a huge open world RPG, and you could create a roster of maybe 4 characters in the main roster in your main party at any given time, but they can be from different games. So you'd have 3 characters from all of the Final Fantasies. You'd have, well, not all of them, maybe 3 from 4, 5, and 6 each. Maybe 2 from 7, 2 from 8, 2 from 9, 1 from 10, because to hell with Titus, and it wouldn't be Titus, it'd be Yuna, because to hell with Titus. You'd have maybe 2 or 3 from Lufia, 2 or 3 from Breath of Fire 2. All of them are in that game, 2 or 3 characters from all of them. And you have a huge open world RPG. They go around beating the hell out of people, leveling up, gaining new skills and abilities. You could even have characters from Phantasy Star. Why the hell not? Golden Sun, even. It's a nice mix. Huge open world cross RPG, levels, bosses, all that cool stuff. Now, this game would be pretty normal, but the thing I'm thinking about is get the people from who do from intelligence systems to do the dialogue, because they do some of the best dialogue, and Monolith Soft, they do some of the best dialogue for their characters. Anyone who played Namco, Capcom cross Namco, cross Sega, they're really good at that. And I would like to see it to where you think the main villain of the game is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, because everyone has some type of obsession with him, even though he's kind of lame in my opinion. But it turned halfway through the game, you find out the real villain was Kefka all along.
Oh, you Smash Brothers joke, wouldn't you?
Well,
Sephiroth in the back, that's causing all the chaos, and Kefka pulling the strings.
Well, I think it would be hilarious to just have Kefka break the 3rd wall and mention memes and just totally mess with like Cloud Strife comes in with his big buster sword. He's like, "I will destroy you." It's like, my. Kefka's like, my. That's a big sword you're carrying. Are you sure you aren't trying to compensate for something?
Insert evil Kefka laugh here.
Yes, insert evil Kefka laugh. Or you could have you could have the parties break apart into like kind of like in Final Fantasy VI, where like different parties accomplish different objectives at different times, and that's how you move the story along. So like you could have Cloud meet up with maybe Sabine, Terra, and Locke from Final Fantasy VI, and like Sabine's totally unimpressed with Cloud Stripe. He's like, hey, that's a big sword. And I think you think you're pretty tough, don't you? It's like, yeah, I am. It's like, have you ever suplexed a train? No, you can't tell me shit. I think that would be hilarious. But yeah, that would be great, and it would definitely. I think that would get people introduced. Now, getting these rights under one household to make a game,
that'd be a mess.
Yeah. So we have some other answers here before we wrap things up. Falcon Launch says Jumpstars versus Smash Brothers. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, that would be cool. Seeing Goku versus, you could finally have Goku in a Smash Brothers game.
And I can finally have JoJo in Smash as well.
Yeah, you could have JoJo. You could have Jotaro. You could have Jotaro Joestar. You could have Kinshiro from Fist of the North Star versus Meta Knight. You could have Piccolo versus Link. That'd actually be a pretty fun. That'd be a pretty fun thing. You'd have Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy versus Mario. Monkey D. Luffy would win because Monkey D. Luffy is friggin' overpowered as hell.
Hey,
yeah.
How can you damage somebody made of rubber?
Exactly.
Also,
his only weakness: don't throw him in the water. What?
The roster better have Frieza and Dio, because those are the only Jumpstart characters I care for that I'm going to be maining if that ever happens.
Oh God!
Really? No Naruto.
Those two are.
No Roronoa Zoro. No Kinshiro from Fist of the North Star. No.
One, I would actually want is Zoro or.
It's just I'm perfectly fine with Zoro and Kinshiro. It's just that Frieza and Dio are like my favorite characters in Jump and Shonen Jump.
No, I'm joking. String Anime has Castlevania versus Contra, which he is contracting and molding into Contravania. Actually, I would get that just for the name. Hey man,
that actually be fun.
Yeah, did you play that Contravania last night?
Castle get blasted up by two guys.
Well, I mean, you can play as four characters. You've got Simon Belmont, Sophia Belnades, and Bill and Bill and Mad Dog. And but here's the thing: no matter who you play as, one hit and you're dead.
Also, is the Red Falcons going to be part of Contravania?
You'll have both. You'll have Red Falcon and Dracula. Hell, they might even pull an Alpha Sigma and Ultron Sigma and fuse together into Red Dracula. Falcon Dracula, and then you're done. Yeah, that'd be totally awesome.
I was gonna say that would be real, trying to incorporate multiple weapons and kills with certain number of lives.
Yeah, and like your the cool thing about that would be your sub weapons would be like for the Contra people, it would be like they would be different like types of weapons, like spread shot, crush cannon, homing missile, stuff like that. But for the Castlevania people, they would be like sub weapons, like the cross and holy water and the clock and stuff like that. String Anime says 2-player co-op wiping out vampires and aliens. Oh, that would be a fun game. Falcon Launch from our original thing said, my boy Yusuke. Yeah, I'm a Yusuke Urameshi fan myself as well. Trinell83 says Skies of Arcadia cross Bait and Katos. Man, you hit me in my heart right there. Because those are two of like my favorite RPGs ever. But
Those are epic.
Yeah. That would be fun. That would be a fun game. Like, but which battle system would you use? Would you use the battle system from Skies of Arcadia, or would you use the deck building from Baton Kato's? I like both of them equally, but Contravania laughing my ass off. Yes, I know Falcon. It's pretty damn good. So yeah, those are the topics. Any other topics anyone wants to bring up before we wrap things up? Anything?
Let's see. Let me check. Oh yeah, the new ARMS update trailer came out, and it was hinting at some kind of special transformation for Springman at the very end.
Makes me wonder if they're going to go. Some hope I'm not gonna be regretting this line. Super Saiyan or Kaioken style.
Like, here's the thing. ARMS really didn't do anything for me. Like, I saw it and I was like, that looks like fun, and I played it, and I was like, this is okay, but I mean,
It's not fighter quality to you.
Well, I'm like, here's the thing. I know there are people who enjoy ARMS, and God bless them. Me personally, ARMS doesn't draw me out like that. Like, I'm not enthralled with ARMS. It doesn't. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, I have to play this game. You know, it's not something I would play and 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 play for hours and hours on end.
Oh, is it? A soda company by the name of Fago is hinting at an undiscovered Super Mario Easter egg.
That could be.
I mean, you guys heard of Fago?
Aren't they like a spin-off of the Coke brand that's made someplace else?
Let's see. From what I've been reading, it's actually it's a Detroit-based brand, and it's pretty common in Michigan and Ohio.
Well, I mean, I've never heard of them, but whatever.
Neither did I, because apparently they had a product advertisement with Mario back in the 90s.
Well, hell, that's the 90s.
That's the new one to us.
Hell, that's the 90s. And they're only in Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, okay. Because, I mean, look, listen, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Every summer when I was a kid, I used to spend the summer with my grandparents, and they had a local soda down there called RC Cola. And kind of like Fago, except RC, I think, is like all over Florida, not just in Detroit. And, you know, in the suburbs of Detroit. And it's just like, it's like they'd have weird stuff, you know, weird mascots and promotions and endorsements, stuff like that too. So yeah. But I wasn't aware of that, no. I don't know.
That's about it. Really.
Duel.
So,
Let's say, I was trying to hear you guys real quick. What was that?
I'm just saying. Do you have any
extra?
do you have anything? New extra thing you want to add before we wrap things up?
Really, though, if anything, I'm just curious what our next topic is going to be for next week.
Yes. Speaking of next week, well, I thought that for October, you know, we were going to talk about really cool stuff. So, since this is October, All Hallows Eve is coming up, you know, at the end of this month. I said, well, why don't we focus on hilarity? So I said to myself, well, why don't we talk about, you know, scary things? So next week's BS Busters is going to focus on games that we found to be scary. So we'll talk about games from each gen that we found were like, this is kind of disturbing. Starting with when we first started playing video games all the way up to now. And that's going to be next week's BS Busters. It's all going to be about games that we find to be scary.
That's gonna be easy. Like Super Mario 64. That was the first thing I got. That was the first time. Some parts of the game.
That piano that attacked you.
Yep, and the EO, and
Fair
that
enough.
cheap.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Big Bertha when I first saw it in Super Mario 3.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The first scary thing I ever saw, and a scary thing that made me go, it wasn't really scary, it was like, oh shit. The first oh shit moment I ever had in video gaming, this is just a taste of what you're going to get next week, folks, was nothing really going up to Super Mario World, but the final boss, when you fight Bowser and he goes through his third form, where his flying clown car looks really angry and starts trying to crush you.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of creepy, especially when you're like 4 years old trying to play that game. Little disturbing. But yeah, so stay tuned next week. We'll have more for you. Hopefully we'll have a bigger roster then. But yeah, that's BS Busters, and good night. Enjoy. Auf Wiedersehen. And OJ recently got loose, so watch out.
Oh.
What?